Unit 7, Learning Target number 14. Solve real-world problems involving volume. Okay, let's take what we've learned about volume and area and surface area and solve some problems. Problem number 1. Remember, when we go to solve a problem, we want to follow some steps. First of all, we want to make sure we read the problem carefully. And as we're reading, we can go through and underline the important information. We can underline what's important. A lot of times I like to circle the main question. What is the question we're being asked? So we'll underline the information and circle the question. Then we'll begin to think about what we have. And while we're thinking about it, we'll draw a picture about what we're doing. And then 5, we'll go ahead and solve that problem. And then finally, we're going to check our answers and make sure that it makes sense. So let's start with reading the problem. If a pyramid, hey, that's important, it's a pyramid, has a square base, that's important too, not a triangular base, that measures 500 yards by 500 yards, that's really important, and each side of the pyramid stands 300 yards tall, so the sides are 300 yards tall. What would be the surface area of the pyramid? We're being asked to find the surface area, so I'm going to circle my question. What would be the surface area of the pyramid? Use the following formulas as needed. Area is equal to length times width. You'll remember that. That's for a rectangle. And area is equal to 1/2 base times height. You'll remember that too as the area of a triangle. Okay, so we've read the problem, we have underlined the information, and we have circled the question. Let's begin by drawing out our problem. Now, I am not a terrific artist, but I'm going to attempt to draw a pyramid with a square base. Alright, so there is my beginning of my pyramid. See how this looks when I'm done. It's going to look terrible, but that's okay. Alright, we know that it's a pyramid and it has a square base. Now, anytime I'm going to be finding the surface area, since you guys don't have any additional formulas, we're going to start by drawing out that net. Okay, we're just going to kind of give ourselves an idea of what we're getting into by drawing out a net here. Again, not a great artist. Okay, now I'm told that the base of that pyramid here, the base is 500 by 500 yards. So it's 500 on one side by 500 on the other, because it's a square. And each side of the pyramid stands 300 yards tall. So we can think of that as this side here from base to top is 300 yards. So that's yards, and that's yards. So now what we need to do is fill out our net here so that we can find out what the different sides are. We can find the area of this rectangle or this square by doing length times width. So let's do that. So length times width. And since it's a square, multiply 500 times itself. 500 times itself is also 500 squared. But let's do 500 times 500. Alright, and we can get rid of some of this. We're going to go ahead and pull up the calculator just because it's a little bit easier on us. 5 will clear out what we had from before. 500 times 500 is equal to, I know what that is 250,000. 250,000. So that is going to be 250,000 yards, and it's going to be squared, right? Because we multiplied yards times yards. That is right here in the middle. So we know that this is going to be 250,000 yards squared. Alright, now what about each triangle? Remember that the formula for the area of a triangle we had given to us right here is area equal to 1/2 times the base times the height. We know that this is one of our triangles right here. We'll kind of outline that there. That's one of our triangles right there. We know that the base is 500, so we'll fill that in. 500, there is the base. We know that we're going to multiply it by 1/2, so we won't forget that. We'll put that right out there too. Now we need to find the height. Well, the height's been given to us as well. The height of this triangle from the bottom to the top is the same as this height, 300. Okay, now we're cooking with gas. We can plug that into our calculator. And I'm going to start by multiplying the 500 times the 300. 500 times 300 is equal to 150,000. 150,000. And I'm going to multiply that by 1/2. And remember, again, that is the same as dividing 150,000, dividing it by 2. So what is that? Come on, calculator. You can figure this out in your head too, by the way. 150,000 is what we had. We're going to divide that by 2. And that is going to be 75,000. 75,000. 75,000 what? Well, it's going to be yards squared. Okay, now we're not quite done. Each one of these triangles is 75,000 yards squared. So that one will be, and that one will be, and that one will be, and that one will be. So what do we need to do? We need to multiply this by 4, right? 4 times 0 is 0, times 0 is 0, times 0 is 0. 4 times 5 is 20, so that's a 0 too, and we carry the 2. 4 times 7 is 28, plus 2 is 30. That's going to give us 300,000. 300,000 for all of those triangles together. So I'm going to say that that triangle times 4 is equal to 300,000. And I know that the rectangle itself is 250,000. 250,000. And then I can just, because remember, we're just adding all these guys up. We added, in this case, remember that multiplication is repeated addition. We added the triangles, we added the rectangle. Now we'll just add both of those together. That's going to give us 550,000 yards squared. That is a big number. That is the area, the surface area of our pyramid of all those sides put together. Okay, one more to get you going. The last one we dealt with was surface area. Let's see what this one is. Felicity has a rectangular fish aquarium. That's important. It's rectangular. That measures 24 inches wide, 12 inches deep, and 18 inches tall. What is the maximum amount of water that the aquarium will hold? There is our question. What is the maximum amount of water that that aquarium will hold? Now, we've read our question, we have underlined the important piece of information, we've circled our question, and now we need to begin to draw a picture. We want to figure out what exactly it is that it's asking us. So we'll draw our picture here. Here's an aquarium. Again, not an artist. No judgment. Okay, so there is my aquarium here. I'm sure some of you could draw much better aquariums, especially that part right there. Okay, here's my aquarium. And I want to know the amount of water that that aquarium will hold, right? So if it was to be filled all the way to the top here, how much would it hold? That is a question for volume, because remember that volume is how much something will hold inside of it. So we know a formula for a rectangular prism, because remember that's what this shape is. It's a rectangular prism. And the formula for a rectangular prism is length times width times height. So what are the dimensions of our aquarium here? Well, we know that it is 24 inches wide. So I'm going to say that's 24 inches there. You know what? We'll make this the width right here. 24 here. It's 12 inches deep. And it is 18 inches tall. That's our aquarium. What is the maximum amount? We'll just plug all that in. We'll say that it is 24 times 12 times 18. All right, and since you have a calculator too, we'll just plug that right into our calculator. 24 times 12 is equal to 288. And then we multiply that by 18. And that gives us 5,184. What? Well, this is in inches, right? We've got inches up here, so we'll make sure that this is in inches. But what kind of inches? Is it inches squared? No, that would be for area. That would give us the area of one of these sides. We want to know volume, so it's going to be inches cubed. And there you go.